Welcome to the Business Builder Podcast with me, your host, Ricky Scott. This podcast show is brought to you by Synergy Success Network. Straight talking, no nonsense, and completely uncut. So what you see with us is what you get. Together with my good friend and colleague, he is a serial entrepreneur, the author of the Business Builder book, How to Plan, Develop and Build a Sustainable Seven-Figure Trades Business, Mr. Mark Legg. So today we're going to be talking about personal development. Guys, it's episode 2. And I'm really excited to be inviting our first special guest onto the show, Kelvin Inspires. And I will tell you, that's not his last name, but I can't say his last name, so we're sticking with Kelvin Inspires today. How you doing, Kelvin? Good to see you.
Hey, my brother, I'm good.
How you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm good. I'm really pumped up. Every time I come into SSN HQ, I feel like I'm on top of the world, top of the mountain, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. So Kelvin, we've invited you in today because I wanted to explore the area of personal development with you. I know this is a subject that you're quite heavily into, and we'll talk more about what you do as we go through the show. But what I'd like for you to sort of tell our audience more about is your place in the world of personal development.
Interesting. Funny you say that. I love personal development. I got into the personal development circle around 5 years ago. So listen, 5 years ago I've been doing this, and I realized that my life has shifted from one place to the other because I engaged in personal development things, that activities that get me, that kept me going to where I am today. And I believe personal development is, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a CEO, the leader of an organization, whether you're a career professional, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or dad, listen, personal development is open for all of us.
For everyone, isn't it?
Everybody, to continuously grow, because there's so much in us that we don't even know. And the only time that we ever get to realize and find that out is when we start the journey on personal development.
Speaking of journeys, Kelvin, I'd like to know, where did it all start for you? So where did you start with personal development?
You know what? When I was a young student, at the age of, I'll say 13, I was in a group.
Many years ago, then.
Many years.
You remember that far back?
Absolutely. I got this wonderful privilege of leading a team. It was like a young group. It was a boarding school. In this boarding school, I joined a group where, like a fellowship, where and I was given the opportunity to lead every Sunday and talk about personal development stuff. I didn't even have a clue what it was, but I just got in there and started talking about motivation. Hey, we can do it. Hey, we can do it. And I remember when I left school, secondary school, I went into a conference, and there was this great, tall guy, 6 foot tall, very powerful speaker, motivational speaker, right on stage. And he was so captivating, and I felt, wow, I love this. The reality is, all of us like to be reminded of how powerful we are.
Absolutely.
And we like to be fed stories of people who have succeeded, because they can inspire us. And sometimes we get that, wow, if they can do it, I could do it. That sort of jolt in our spirit to get out and do stuff. And I remember walking to this chap called Smith, walked up to him at the end of the conference and said, Smith, hey, I want to be like you. And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? I said, I want to be like you. He was 6 foot tall. Trust me, I was shocked.
I was going to say, you're definitely not 6 foot tall, Kelvin.
No, man. I wish. I walked up to him and said, Smith, I want to be like you. I like the energy you bring into a room. I felt motivated. I felt empowered. I could do anything. And he said to me, every time I come into your city, I want you to come and sit right in front of sit right in front and come to me, and I'll make sure you're in there, because I want you to learn how I do it. See me do it every time, and maybe you just get some inspiration. And I remember that, wow, I love that. For 6 months straight on, after secondary school, I'll go in there whenever he comes into town, sit down and take some notes. I'm like, he will go and list powerful quotes, powerful stories that just kept me thinking, wow, I love this. And obviously life kicks in after the whole period. My mom's like, hey, you're going to go to university now. So I left that away, and for 10 years of my life, completely forgot about the idea of ever being a speaker. And then in 2014, right, I was working in a bank, and right there, it hit me. What was I doing? I was, talking to customers on a daily basis. I enjoyed it, but it got to a point I realized I could do more. Like, is this what life is all about?
You almost felt as though you maybe were in a box and you needed to escape.
Absolutely. I felt like, and the most important thing is that the lock to the prison, or to the box, was open. I was in control of the lock. I could open myself, let myself go, or keep myself right in there. You know what I mean? So it was like it was an invisible lock. I was right there. I knew there was something more I could do. And I remember thinking, what can I do? I got involved. I met a coach who sat me down, personal life coach, and he was asking me some questions about my life. And I said, and he asked me a powerful question. What do you want out of life, Kelvin? I said, man, I'm dissatisfied with my current performance, what I'm doing with my life. So what else did you want, Kelvin? If you were to start your life all over again, what would you do differently? Wow. That hit me.
Hit you like a ton of bricks.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I didn't have an answer for that. I walked away, and 3 days just meditating on that question. And I remember thoughts about me meeting Smith back when I was a young student.
Yeah.
Motivation. When I joined the group and we're doing
back
motivation, it just took me back again. Back to the same place. I'm like, wow, yeah, I want to be a speaker. I want to be, someone that motivates and encourages people. It all started with the idea of encouraging people to be more. It all started with encouraging people to want more out of life. Because there where I was sat in a job, I was dissatisfied, 9 to 5 every morning, going to work, dissatisfied with my current production, with what I was doing with my life. It almost felt like I was living my mom and my dad's life, because my mom and my dad happened to have worked for a bank in Nigeria for all of their lives, and I know what life was for them when they retired. So I was like, whoa, am I just walking the same footstep with my mom and my dad? And so I remember the tears dropping down my eye at work, like, I want to do something more. And that led me to have a conversation with a coach, and the coach asked me a powerful question. I went away, and then all of a sudden, I remember watching a movie, Coach Carter, where Samuel L. Jackson takes a bunch of underdogs, students, and turns them into superstars, NBA players. Yeah. And that hit me. That's the guy I want to be. I want to be the guy that says, hey, get up! And do what you gotta do. Like the guy that that has your corner. The guy that fights for you, that encourages you to get up and do more and be more. And it hit me right. That's what I wanted. And then I went back to the coach and said, I want to be a coach. I want to do what you're doing. I said, hey, give it a chance. Give it a shot. And so that's how I got into the idea of, and I remember falling in love with the great speakers like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, these great guys, and I
legends,
big legends. I kept listening to them. Earl Nightingale, listening to them, the power of words, how whatever we do on a daily basis is leading us to our future. The books that we read is actually telling on us and how we show up to life. So it hit me that I've got to pay some attention to my own personal development. And I'm only producing based on my own current level of knowledge. So I realized that, all right, to do more, I've got to learn more. Yeah. I've got to learn, get the knowledge, and apply the knowledge. So, that's my journey into personal development. And I've been doing it for 5 years now, coaching, speaking, and training, and I love it.
And can I just say, 5 years you've been in the industry, and I have to say, and I have to draw on this experience, right. When you first came to Synergy Success Network HQ, I remember you sitting here in this room, and you being here for a good hour with me, Mark, and Chloe, and I just remember you leaving the room and me just sort of sat at that table thinking, wow, this guy really does inspire. So you've come a long way, Kelvin, and congratulations for that. You're doing incredibly well. So awesome stuff. Yeah. So naturally leading on, why do you feel that personal development is so important for people? You've touched on kind of the relevance of it all, but why is it so important?
Right here, sat in this HQ, SSN HQ, right on the wall. If you've never been here before and you're running a business, I want to invite you to be here, because you get inspired automatically by pictures around here. I mean, I'm looking at a board now, a
You're
vision board. I just got the top of the mountain, you know, the
Yes.
mountain top. You know, someone said nobody goes to the mountain accidentally. It says nobody wakes up one morning and starts climbing the mountain accidentally. It doesn't work that way.
No.
It's steep, it's hard, it's difficult. You know, and you have every reason to turn back.
Absolutely.
To say, hey, wake up. I mean, if you're sleepwalking, you wake up immediately. By the time the terrain and the wind and the gust and everything comes at you, you realize, all right, what are you doing? So nobody goes up the mountain accidentally. That means if you haven't done any inner work on yourself, there is no way you are going to climb to the top of the mountain. To get to the top of the mountain, you have got to be intentional. You have got to do some deep inner work in yourself and sometimes you got to shut negativity out of your, out of your zone, out of your mind, your own inner voice, what people are saying around you. You know, we turn on the news and all we see is negative information, negative news. Someone died, someone is in prison. All of that negativity can make you even want to stay at home and not get out, right?
Absolutely.
So personal development is infueling yourself with positive messages, with reprogramming your mind for success, with reprogramming your mind that the mountain is where you ought to be.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. I completely agree.
Absolutely. So without that, without personal development, you can't get to the top echelon of where you're supposed to be.
When my personal journey started, I mean, I've been practicing personal development on and off for maybe a couple of years now. It was only when I kind of joined Synergy Success Network, I had to fully embrace it. I knew that I had to fully embrace it just before I joined Synergy. And it was almost like these things were happening around me, and then all of a sudden Mark presented me with this opportunity to join Synergy. And since then, I'm still on a journey, but I'm embracing personal development, and it does make a difference to your life.
Absolutely.
It really, really does.
Absolutely. You know, emotionally, you know, financially, physically, every area of your life requires some part of you to take action.
Trouble is, what I find with a lot of people, and certainly at Synergy with the clients or prospect clients that we deal with, personal development is just not a concept that they're used to.
Yeah.
So it's trying to open people's minds to adopting a personal development. It's tough, but once people grasp it,
come on now, absolutely,
it's just awesome.
When you actually saying people, I mean, when you were a kid, what were your dreams? You know, when you ask a 5-year-old, what do you want to be in life? They tell you the great stuff.
Yeah, I always dreamed of being a policeman.
You say, right? You know,
what was your dream?
My dream.
What was your dream as a 5-year-old boy, Kelvin Inspires?
Well, I had many dreams. I wanted to be an accountant. I remember saying that. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to drive fancy cars.
Just thought of another dream I had. I wanted to be James Bond.
Right, you see?
I still want to be James Bond.
You know, I met a lady the other day and I asked her, what do you want to be? She said, well, I want to be an actress. Well, that's a pipe dream. It'll never happen. I'm like, wow, how could you say that? Yeah. How could you stop yourself even before you try? You know, because now the reality is she's looked around, you know, our environment, the people that I know, people I hang out with, no one's aiming bigger. No one's trying anything bigger. So why try? You know.
Absolutely. Do you know what? That links back. I'm listening to an audible book at the moment, which we were discussing prior to the podcast. Okay. Grant Cardone, be obsessed or be average.
Come on now.
And he talks early on in the chapters about naysayers and haters, and if you're surrounded with people that are telling you no, it's not quite in your reach, you can't do it.
Come on now.
Be settled with what you've got. You're never going to strive to reach those dreams that you've got.
Absolutely. You see, when I started reading and going into personal development, I realized I had got to upgrade my relationship.
Yes.
I had to change, you know, come out of the circle of people of friends that I was in, because most of them weren't thinking bigger. Yeah. Most of them having small dreams. So I just want to go to a job, come back home and have a good time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
but
there is not.
But I want more.
Yes.
I want more. I want more for myself, more for my family. You know, I want to do more. I want to travel the world. There's a whole lot of life
There is.
Beyond this, you know.
Absolutely.
There's a whole lot of places we need to explore and see and enjoy life. Life is meant to be enjoyed. See, but I only got to this level of thought when I was engaging in personal development practices, going to seminars, going to workshops, masterclasses, things that could help grow my mind. You know, this is similar to what you're doing. You're helping people, you know, goal setting, strategic planning. You know, your SSN is a place where businesses can come together and have a bigger dream.
Absolutely.
And go out for it.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Absolutely awesome. So, Kelvin, I'm going to ask you to share with our audience, if there was one top tip that you could give our listeners today on how to get started in their personal development journey, what would that be?
Listen, I did a show this morning. As you know, I do a 7 a.m. motivation every morning where I go in hard, 5 minutes of motivation to get people all pumped up. One of the things I shared this morning was personal growth. Personal growth. Nothing grows accidentally, right? We've established that to get to the mountain, you've got to be motivated, you've got to be inspired. So personal growth is the question is, what is your personal growth plan? What's the plan that's going to make you grow?
Okay. For
2020. Because if you have goals are good to set, but what are the plans? Now we have business goals, we have financial goals, we have all of the other goals. I'm talking about your personal goals. What's going to get you up in the morning? What's going to get you fired up every day to go continuously for your goal? Because we set goals, we don't know what's going to happen 6 months down the line, or even 6 days after. You know, you might have some bills stuck at you, or some disappointment, life gets in the way. But what is going to keep you going when you're faced with adversity, when you're faced with challenging situations and circumstances? What is going to keep you going? It's about having a personal growth plan. Yeah. What am I going to do every day that is going to keep me going? So I'll share with your audience. I do 3 things every day. Number 1, I spend time, I wake up in the morning, I got to get my mind right. I meditate, I pray, I take some time to just sort out my spiritual self and just get myself feeling good. The second thing I'm going to do, my mental aspect, my mind. I go to the gym, I listen to Audible. You talk about Audible. I listen to Audible, I listen to books on Audible. I read a lot of books. I realize that the most successful people read over 60 books a year. Wow, 60. Over 60 books a year, Ricky. And the average only read between 1 to 2 books a year. So I set a goal to read over 100 because I want to become an authority in my field.
Good for you.
Absolutely. So it's about, what can I do to invest my mind? What else can I do for my body, my physical fitness? So I go to the gym to keep fit, just because I want to keep fit. Because even if my mind is ready to go on, I want my body to be ready as well. I want my body to be in sync with my mind. It's like someone you get into a car and you start the car and you accelerate, and the car, and the car's not moving, and you're accelerating as hard as you can.
It's funny enough, yours didn't this morning, isn't it?
Absolutely, my brother. You accelerate.
For our audience that are not in on the joke, Kelvin had a bit of car trouble getting in this morning, and he was late. But he's here and he arrived.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's worse accelerating, your car is not moving. It's crazy. and then you got to realize, the handbrake's on. Brilliant. You got to get the handbrakes off, all right, for you to be able to go. So having your mind ready is like starting the car and accelerating. But having the handbrakes off, it's like thinking of your body. Yeah. Getting your body right. What you eat, what you exercise and carry on. Yeah, no, I was just going to summarise the fact that what we're doing here is giving that top tip of how for somebody to start their personal growth. Their personal development journey. Yeah. And you're talking about personal growth plan. Personal growth plan. Personal growth. Start with that. Yeah. What are the 3 things you're going to do every day? Write it down. Write it down. Put it in your phone note. Absolutely. Read it once. Read it twice. Read it 3 times if you need to. Absolutely. It's got to be in your subconscious mind, hasn't it? Absolutely. So important. So important. And those 3 things that you set to do on a daily basis will be the foundation of your growth. will be the foundation, and then you can improve on that as you get on. But start with that. Now, the secret of highly successful people is in their daily routine.
Absolutely.
Come on now. So and you say habits are a pathway to your future. There are things that you do. If your habits are wrong, I can predict your future. If your habits are right, I can predict your future. So spend some time. 3 top tips. What are you going to do every day that's going to get you straight out, consistent, and committed to your own growth?
Absolutely. And once again, I'll refer back to the book that I'm reading at the moment, because all of this rings so true. You know, Grant Cardone, be obsessed or be average. Yeah. And it is, you have, I mean, people say that having an obsession can be unhealthy, but not if you channel it correctly. If you are obsessed with making yourself better, with being the best version of yourself, that's a healthy obsession to have.
Come on now, absolutely.
It's, you know, and this is what it's all about. And I think personal development, you've got to be obsessed with it to grow yourself as a person. So absolutely. Yeah, absolutely awesome. And society
says no. Society says forget about that.
Absolutely.
Don't aim too high, mate. Just stay where you are. Yeah.
Piss off. That's what I say. But anyway, so guys, what I really want to know, and what I'd like the audience to know, when I say I'd like to know, I already know. I'm currently going through one of your programs, and I have to say it's absolutely awesome. The John C. Maxwell Leadership Program, absolutely brilliant. Really enjoying it. It's really opened my mind. I mean, I've always felt as though I'm quite a naturally born leader anyway. It's something I was always told when I was younger, and it's just, you know, and I do, and it's untapping things inside of me that I never thought I had. So it's great. So share with our listeners how you can support them and how people can reach out to you.
Okay, so I am the founder of Kelvin Inspires. You know, my really couldn't mention my surname, but hey, I've had people to be called anything, to be fair.
Tell our listeners what your surname is.
Okay, let's give it a try. Kelvin Uchemefune, right?
Kelvin Uchemefune.
Uchemefune.
Did I get it right?
You did.
That's the first time ever.
Come on now. Absolutely.
I've only been trying for the last few months. And I've just got it right on episode 2 of this.
I tell you what, I'll be called anything. I'm okay with being called Kelvin Inspires. So Kelvin Inspires, you can find me on www.kelvininspires.com. I'm on Facebook, Kelvin Inspires, Instagram, Kelvin Inspires, on YouTube, on Twitter. And you can join me in the 7 a.m. motivation every day on Facebook, Monday to Friday, on the motivation side. If you want to get motivated, join me. So definitely. I run a leadership training program.
Yes, you do.
I believe whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a CEO, whatever you're chasing out of life, all of us can only grow once we assume our leadership. Once we take on the role of leadership. And the biggest form of leadership is self-leadership. You know, the ability to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. Which links in with personal development.
Absolutely. It's all right in the mix. So I run leadership programs. And if you think, you know, you want to grow, you can reach out to me for leadership training. I do that one-to-one. I do that in groups, you know, in organizations. I help you become a better leader, and that's what I do.
Awesome. And like I say, I'm going through the program personally myself at the moment, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. And just to give weight to what it is you do, it's not just any leadership program. This is from John C. Maxwell. Tell the audience. Tell them.
Right. I'm a certified John C. Maxwell team member.
I'm now bowing down, guys.
And you might say, wait, who is John C. Maxwell? John C. Maxwell has written several books on leadership and personal growth for over 40 years. In fact, Amazon ranks him as number 7 highest best-selling author in the world. He's an authority figure when it comes to leadership, and he teaches leadership in a very unique way. Would you say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely unique way. And I had the opportunity to sign in and join in as a team member. I was opportune in 2019 March to be with John Maxwell right in Orlando.
You went to the States.
It was a lovely experience, man.
Yeah,
lovely.
Like that.
So we're a bunch of quite a lot of us out there, team members with John Maxwell. So we are able to take John Maxwell's programs into organizations. So if you want to learn more, just reach out to me. And
Definitely reach out. Definitely reach out. Well, Kelvin, look, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. You've been absolutely awesome, as always. And please note, guys, Kelvin does not provide the voice of Mufasa in The Lion King. So just so you're aware of that. So, guys, thank you for joining us in this episode. We will be back again with more. So don't forget to subscribe so that you can be kept up to date and notified with all the latest episodes. Also, follow Mark and I on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn so that you can reach out and contact us across all of those platforms. So thank you and goodbye for now.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was brilliant.